Started, and we're almost at the top of the hour, so we'll begin in just a moment. Susan, where are you that it's getting dark? Must be across the pond. So thank you for being here again. This is Bortone, and we're going to get started in just a moment with our weekly webinar. I'm just checking all the technology here behind the scenes, making sure we're good to go. Excellent. We've got a good group coming in today. And we are recording for those folks who prefer to listen to the recording. Hello, Nancy and Joe and Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. We have a lot of countries represented today. Awesome. Roz is asking if we still have snow. Roz, I'm in New Hampshire. We have snow until May. It's like the frozen wasteland up here. But anyway, let me go full screen here and we will get started. Okay, this. Bum ba da ba. Okay, I'm hoping you can see and hear, see my screen, because we're gonna get rolling with Lou's Labs. Oops. All right, just wanted to make sure that everything is cool on the GoToWebinar front. And do one last check. Yes, Brenda, we'll have a replay of this. So as long as you signed up for the webinar, I will get you a recording and a replay. That's what I'm doing right now. I just want to make sure that Camtasia is recording a backup. Yes. Cool. All right. I think we're ready to roll. We try and do these things in a half hour or less. So I'm going to jump right in and get to it because we got some cool info to share with you. Okay. And the cool thing is there's no sales, there's no upsell, it's not a preview call, it's just an info call to share. So welcome. Thank you so much again for being here. I really appreciate your time and I'm glad you're here. And like we said last week, which was our first weekly webinar, we're going to do this every Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern, and there will be a recording because I know that time is not convenient for everyone. Just had to do it sometime. So we do these in 30 minutes or less. So I like to call them like a quick lunch and learn. And what we try and do is take you behind the scenes and show you new apps, new software, cool websites, just some stuff that's hopefully going to make your life a bit easier. So we're going to look at, like I said, tools, software, tips, things like that, and try and give you some shortcuts and some how-tos. And what I'll do is I'll skip back and forth between this PowerPoint and the web so that I can kind of show you on the fly. And as we said last week, we'll talk about tools for photos and music and video clips and how to use new tools like Easy Video Suite and List Animal, which is another product like Aweber that's coming out soon. We're going to show you in future weeks how to create sketch videos, how to do some social media stuff, some video editing tips. So please come back each and every week for more fun. And today we're going to be talking about photo fun, or how to turn your quotes or tips or little sayings into cool images that you can then share on Facebook and Pinterest. And I like this topic because I like to think visually and I like to turn content and ideas into images. And there's a lot of advantages to that because obviously Facebook is partial to images. Facebook loves pictures, graphics of any kind. Obviously, Pinterest is a site that is created specifically for photos. And the thing about posting any kind of visual content, whether it's a quote or a photo or a graphic, is that they're more fun, they're more shareable, they are definitely more apt to get passed along and go viral. In addition, it helps your SEO. And I like to think of these little visual images as kind of the first step towards video content. So I'm going to show you a couple of tools in the next few minutes on how to create graphics and what I call photo posts. And I'll go through each one of these individually and skip back and forth between the PowerPoint and the web. So we're going to look at recitethis.com. another one called pinwords.com, a site called shareasimage.com, another cool site called pinstamatic.com, and quozio.com. So let's dive right in and look first at recitethis.com. So recitethis.com is a site, I think I learned about it from Denise Wakeman from the Blog Squad, so I want to give her credit for that. But basically you can, as they say here, turn a quote into a masterpiece. So any kind of tip or short quote or saying that you want to create, rather than just putting the plain old quote into Facebook, you can turn it into a graphic with recitethis.com. And the other cool thing about that is once you have put your saying in there, you can choose from all different kinds of backgrounds and type and things like that. The one I have here just has a cool way to create graphics. And once you've got that saying, you can share it immediately to Tumblr or Pinterest or Twitter or Facebook. Obviously on Twitter, it will be a link back to your image. And I think I just tried recitethis.com and I think they're actually offline right now, if you can believe that. But let me try again. Okay, here we go. Back to the site, recitethis.com, and they're offline. Oh well. But again, you can see from the screenshot that I have here that it is just a fun, cool way to create graphics. And I'll show you what one of those looks like here. So basically, I typed in all things are difficult before they are easy, and I picked a background and a graphic, and Recite This did their thing and made it into a nice looking quote. And I can put this on Pinterest or Facebook. I can, post it to Tumblr. So again, just a quick way to take any kind of a saying or quote and turn it into something that is much more visually interesting than just a plain old print quote. So recitethis.com, you can play with it later on. For now, we'll move on to pinwords.com. And again, these sites all do basically the same thing. They take an image or a quote and they turn it into something visual that is going to be more fun to share on the web. So I'll show you pinwords.com. They don't have too many templates, but you can upload your own image from your computer or from the web, as you see here on the left-hand start. So you can upload whatever image you want and then put a text overlay on top of it. So your quote can be on top of the picture, like where it says no Photoshop skills required. And all of these, they're very easy to use and don't require any special software. So here's a pinwords that I made. My kind of wise ass. I picked a photo off my computer that I had, and I just put the overlay. No one gives a rat's ass what camera you're using. Just shoot the damn video. So, just a fun little way to throw a quote or a saying or a tip onto an image and upload it to Pinterest or Facebook using pinwords.com. Now, I believe pinwords.com is actually working today. So let's take a quick look at that on the web. You can see my screen. Let me see. I'm just going back to the thing here for a second just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay, great. We're still on the air. We got lots of folks here from several continents, so thank you for that. And we are, if you just joined us, looking at photo tools to create visually interesting graphics that you can put on Pinterest or Facebook. So here's an example here. You can take one of their backgrounds and, oops, hold on a second. This is what happens when you're on a live call. If you just want to create a generic background, you can take one of their backgrounds like this and then decide what type of overlay or what type of writing do you want on that. So if I pick this one and then I typed in, oh, come on, Pinwords, don't do this to me. Now Pinwords is not cooperating, but I'll show you what you do basically is you just pick your background or your photo and then you pick the type of handwriting you want. and you type in your quote right there, and it will show up, and will look, when it's done, like this. Or whatever whatever photo you choose, or you can choose a generic background. So that's pin words. And so far we're 0 for 2 on looking at them on the web, but that's okay. Another site that you can use to do the same thing essentially is called shareasimage.com. Now this one's not free. There are free, the other previous two are free, but this one's only $6.99, so that's not too bad. For the pro version, there is a free version. And basically share as image, it used to be called pinaquote.com. And as it says here, share as image lets you highlight text anywhere on the web and convert it into an image. And if you have the pro version, you can select different fonts and colors and change the text size. And then once you've got your quote on your background, you can post it to Pinterest, Facebook, or Twitter. So any kind of a quote that you want, whether it's something somebody else said, or if you've got your own saying or quote, you can use share as image to turn it into a cool looking graphic. So what I did was, Monroe Mann and I, my co-author Monroe Mann, we wrote a book called Battle Cries for the Hollywood Underdog. And it's got all these cool quotes and inspiration from Hollywood actors and directors and things like that. So since it's been Oscar season, we took a quote from Gwyneth Paltrow, and I just typed it into shareasimage.com and put the little battle cries for the Hollywood Underdog on the bottom there to promote it, and turned it into a cool looking graphic. So to me, this is going to be more interesting to put on Facebook or Pinterest than just the quote itself, because it just makes it more visually interesting. So that is pinasimage.com. Now, once again, we're going to go back to the web and take yet another chance at looking to see, you know what, I think I'll wait. Shareasimage.com. So that's shareasimage.com. And I think I have too many tabs open. That's why this probably isn't working. As you can see, it's $6.99, or there is a free version that you can use as well. So that is shareasimage.com, formerly pinaquote.com. Let's go back to the PowerPoint for a moment and go to our next tool, which is really my favorite. It's called pinstamatic.com. Pinstamatic.com. And as you can see, it is a tool specifically created for Pinterest and can do all kinds of cool, funky things for Pinterest. So an example of using pinstamatic.com is, hold on a second. Here is pinstamatic.com. So as it says, you can create Pinterest boards in just a few minutes without any editing tools. You can use it for quotes or notes or other things that you want to share. So if you want to do a quote, you go to the quote tab up here. You could share a location with this map thing up here, or picture, tweet, and of course nothing's showing up here because my web side is not working, but just take my word for it. Pinstamatic, we'll go back to the example here that we have, and just check it out, pinstamatic.com, and it will give you the opportunity to put all kinds of cool quotes on sticky notes or on photo backgrounds. So Pinstamatic has a lot of different ways to use those types of quotes and graphic tools, whether it's date kind of things or tweets or anything. So check out pinstamatic.com, also free. And we'll move on to our next tool. We're making record time today. The next photo tool to turn your quotes or sayings into images is called Quozio.com. Quozio.com. Again, you can type in your own quote and then pick a style or a background from the templates that you can see above here. So here I just wrote, there are plenty of ways to make video even if you have a face for radio. And you simply pick your background and your text, and you've got your little quote, which you can then pin to Pinterest or download or send to Facebook. And it's just a cool way to make your quotes look cooler. And that's that. Let me see if I have an example here. So here's a Quozio sample. I just took, a random quote that Lawrence J. Peters says, "A man doesn't know what he knows until he knows what he doesn't know." And I just picked the background here, which was sort of this out of focused forest or whatever, and was able to make my cool looking graphic. Now, again, that's just more interesting than a plain old quote, because you're putting the quote on a photo. It's more fun to put on Pinterest. It's more fun to put on Facebook. So that's Quozio.com. I also want to say a couple of words, and then we'll test out the web again to see if that's working, about content, because basically what you're doing when you're creating these quotes is you are creating content for the web. And if you start with cool, relevant, compelling content, like an interesting quote, people love quotes, you can repurpose that and use it in several different ways on all these sites like Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter. And so the other cool thing is that you can take that same content and you can use it in print or photo or video. So you can share it across multiple platforms. And you can use, a quote photo example, for example, on Pinterest or Facebook. So the idea is to produce this little bite-sized content that's easy to share and get it out in as many platforms as possible. So when I did my, 31 video tips, I created photo versions of each one of those tips or quotes. And I put them on Facebook, and I put them on Pinterest, and I put them on Twitter, and I put them on my blog. So again, I put them on as many platforms as possible to get out that content. So the basic repurposing formula that I use is I'll start typically with a blog post. I'll make sure that I have a photo in that blog post so that I can send that to Facebook or Pinterest. And I'll usually take it one step further and create a video version of the same content. So basically, you're taking that same idea or content and you're repurposing it for photo and video, just to get more bang for your buck. And I like to call this the wheel of content. So again, I start with a blog post up there at the top of the hour position, the noon position. I will send that blog post to Facebook with a graphic. I'll send the photo from that blog post to Pinterest. I may even, if I have a PowerPoint version of that, share it to slideshare.net. And then we'll typically create a video version and post it to YouTube. And then put the video back on my blog post and start all over again. So that's sort of the idea behind all of these tools, is to repurpose, recycle, and reuse it. I'm going to go to the web and do some Q&A as well, but wanted to give you a quick sneak peek of next week's topic, which is going to be time-saving tools. Some video time savers and cheats and tricks, and some general time-saving tools. So I'm going to pop over to the web, but I wanted to also let you know that I'm doing a couple times a year. I do free consults and just chat with folks and see what's up. And again, not trying to sell anything as much as just connecting and staying in touch. So you can do that several ways. You can set up an appointment at my time trade link here, or you can just email me at vip@bortone.com. But what I want to do first is go back to the web, and I want to open it up to questions. So let me know if you have any questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get this web thing to cooperate a little bit more. Go to my Facebook page and show you an example of these quotes and what I mean by that. So basically, if I go to Pinterest, you can see here that I used one of those tools to create a graphic quote, a quote that is a graphic. In this case, it was Al Pacino. It's easy to fool the eye, but it's hard to fool the heart. So that is on my Pinterest board that I made on Quozio.com. Now, if I wanted to use a different background, I could take that same quote and put it on any number of backgrounds until I find the one that I want to use. And they've got all kinds of different types and backgrounds here. So here, it's like there's a blackboard one. Here's some lovely footsteps. So however you want to do it, this is Quozio.com. You can see you just keep going until you find the one that you want. So if I wanted that one, I'd say, cool, that's the one I want. And then I'd just pin it to Pinterest with this pin it button here. So that's Quozio. And I just wanted to show you a real life web example of how that works. Let me take a quick look at the questions. We got a ton of people on the call here, which I really appreciate. You will get the replay because I went through those sites really, really quickly. Yes, these sessions are being recorded. April's asking about copyright issues to avoid when using photos. That's a really tricky question. If it's something like this where you're creating it, this is why I like to use Quozio, because all of these kind of images, obviously you're just pulling from these websites, so you have no problem using any of these sort of generic backgrounds. If you're using a photo, if it's something that somebody posted to Facebook already, obviously it's meant to be shared, but it does get a little tricky, if you're using other stuff. And I think once you post these, as far as rights and copyrights, I don't know, Facebook's got some strange rules about that, but it seems like it's all kind of just out there, I mean, people don't put stuff on Facebook unless they want it to be shared. As far as who owns the copyright, I mean, if you created the quote, then you own the copyright. But I didn't create Al Pacino's quote here, so I don't expect to own the copyright, although I did create this version of it that looks like a quote. So again, if you want to see how this works, place your quote here. Who said it? Someone smarter than me. And then you hit the go button. You can see how it just created your quote. And if you don't like that background, you change the background. Roz pointed out a good point here about Pinterest. I'm looking at the question box now. I took a Pinterest class and they said put your website on the bottom of the quote so that it draws traffic back to you. Yeah, that's always a good idea, especially if you've got a quote on Pinterest or you're putting something on your own Facebook. Like here, what I did for a promo for Lose Labs, and I created this in using one of those tools like Quozio. And basically it just says Fridays are fun again, and I've got the link www.loselabs.com. So I did this one with Recite This. You can see the little Recite This thing here. So you can see how you can just take any kind of a quote or a saying and turn it into a promo that you can then use on Facebook or anywhere else for that matter. Let me see if I missed any questions because we've got a couple minutes. We have a few minutes left here. And Roz is also asking about how you would make a video from your quotes. So what I would do is I would take a series of quotes, maybe in the same theme. Like I'd take some quotes from my 31 ways of doing video. So I've got this quote here, change the way you think about video, with a really cool background that I created. And I would take several of those images and then I would bring them into something like Stupaflix or Animoto.com or maybe OneTrueMedia.com. And then I would take the images and use them in a photo montage. So that's how I would take the quotes and turn them into videos. So I just do something like that. Let me see if I have any other quotes up here that are recent. Here's the one that I showed you from the other time. Here's one from Louis B. Mayer, be smart but never show it. And this is from the book again, Battle Cries from the Hollywood Underdog. So I could take a whole bunch of these quotes and as images, save them as images. I just drag them to my desktop like that. And then I could put those images into a montage and create a video montage for it. Let me see, going through the questions here. Tracy, yes. Hi, how you doing? I sent out the recording from last week's session, but I'll resend it just in case for both weeks. Oh, that's a good question from Susan. What's in it for these companies if they're not charging? It really depends. I mean, some of them have premium versions, other of them have advertising. So it just depends on, the particular platform. Recite this. I don't even know why, how they, here's one from pinwords.com. This one was created with pinwords. I don't know how they make money, but as long as I can use the stuff and not pay for it, I don't really care. So resend the, hi Gail, I will resend the recording from both this week and last week. Last week we looked at video players. This week we're looking at photo tools. As you can see here on my Pinterest board, I've got a gazillion of these quotes that I can create. I used Quozio for this particular one. Repeat the name of the places where you can make video montages. That's a question from Ellie. Sure, no problem. Stupeflix.com, stupeflix.com is one of my favorite sites to create video montages, and I'll show you why. This is getting a little bit more into video than photo, but that's okay. We have time. Stupeflix.com. Hopefully you can see my screen here, and you can see that you can create free videos here on stupeflix.com. Of course, it's making me log in all over again. And then you basically, say you've got all your quotes, you basically pick a theme. Let's take this one, for instance. And you put your photos into Stupeflix. See here, it's going to add pictures. You can add pictures from Facebook or upload them from your video or add them from Instagram. So you import your photos from Facebook that you want to use, and you drag them down into the timeline. This may take a little while because I have so many photos on Facebook. April also has a question while we're waiting here. What's the difference between Animoto and Stupeflix and One True Media? They all do basically the same thing, but they're just different platforms. You probably find one that you like better than another. Like I've been using Stupeflix a lot because I like their themes and templates that they have. So I can take this picture of Miami in February, and I could take my picture of New Hampshire in February. And if I wanted to, I could take more pictures and then I could add music to them. Stupeflix gives you all kinds of tracks that you can use to add a soundtrack. Now this one's only 6 seconds long because I only have 2 photos in there. But then I can create my video and I can preview it up here. And once it's done, I can send it to Facebook or anyplace else, which I don't want to do because I've only got 2 photos in there, but you can see it playing back here. Wow, 2 whole photos, but you get the idea. So you can put as many as you want, as many photos as you want, and then when it's done, you can export it. Of course, they want you to pay for that privilege. So that's Stupeflix is $5 a month or $8 a month, depending on your plan. They have more expensive plans, but you can try it for free. And again, there's not a huge difference between Stupeflix, Animoto, One True Media. They all do basically the same thing. Let's see. Let me see if we have any other questions. Does Stupeflix have a maximum on the free account? You know, I'm sure they do, but I haven't hit that limit yet because I've been using the free version all along. And let me start a new one. And I haven't had any problems. I'll show you one of the older videos that I made, for example. So here is, we just have a couple minutes left, but I'll show you a couple Stupeflix things. Here's one that I made for my clients at the end of last year. Now it still wants me to use another sign up for a plan, but it's got all the photos in here of different clients that I worked with, and I can change the order around if I want and put different people, and I can add a text slide here that just says in 2002 we created videos for all these cool people, and I had the music track in the background, and then when I preview it I can take a look at how it looks. So that's Stupeflix. That's a little bonus for this week that wasn't quite on the agenda, but happy to do it anyway. So we're going to wrap up, but I will send you a recording and go over the tools that we covered once again. Let me stop this. I don't want to see that anymore. So we'll make this go away. And we'll go back quickly so that you can see the sites that we talked about this week, which were recitethis.com, pinwords.com, shareasimage.com, pinstamatic.com, and quozio.com. And we also looked at stupeflix.com, which is a video montage site. So I will get you a recording of this quick half-hour call. I will invite you back for next week when we're going to look at more tools, some time-saving tools. We're going to do this every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern for as long as you guys want to do it. And again, what we'll do is we'll just keep exploring different sites and different software and sort of take a look on the fly at these websites. And happy to do it and happy to send you the recording as well. So check out those sites when you have a chance. If you want to turn your sayings or quotes